with another session, abbreviated tonight, of Another Name on the Wall. This is our final session with the 1867 characters. We've done collaboration off screen. We know a little bit about the general directions we want to take everyone. So let's get started with some scenes. I think we definitely need Charles and Minerva, because we need to wind that thread up a little more. What else do we want?
Well, and the witches Chris had mentioned a Zachariah and Sophia night shift scene. Do you still want that?
I think it will make more sense if we do some day shift scenes right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because let me look at the sheet. Where did we leave off actually?
I think we can roll that into the sort of general goodbye scenes.
Yeah, because we finished in upkeep, so it's a new day shift now. So, yeah, let me uncheck all these boxes. Yeah, we need day shift scenes. Zachariah and Alma could be a day shift scene if you want that. Or was it Zachariah and Sophia? I forget.
Sophia.
Yeah, Zachariah and Sophia. Sorry. That could be day shift if you prefer. Up to you.
Diana, you said last time that you wanted to work more with Alma's desire. So if you wanted to do that / build up more romantic stuff between Alma and Sophia,
All right.
we could have a thing at work where your hand acts up, and then like maybe we have to do some like physical therapy / hand massage.
Ooh, scandalous. Yes. I like that.
All right, very good. There's a distinct lack of Zachariah on this list. A distinct Zach of Dr. Wainwright. Do you want to do anything with his desire? Like maybe Zachariah and Charles, like a final, like, hey, what the fuck, dude?
Sure, let's do that. I think that's good because I think Zach would if all I'm doing is saying goodbye essentially. I think
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to do that with Charles during the night shift.
Yeah, because like Charles would not hang out with you outside of work.
No,
unless you accosted me on my way out the door or something. So yeah, we got 3 scenes now. Let me look at our pool of characters. If we're wrapping stuff up, we probably don't need to do that much with the patients, unless someone has something really, really good.
No. Did we ever diagnose Prudence?
No, Prudence has not. That could be a good impetus for the Zachariah and Charles scene.
Sorry, what was the question about Prudence?
Has
I don't
she
think
ever
we
actually...
ever successfully diagnosed her?
Wait, no, Sophia did.
Yeah, Sophia did.
Yeah, Sophia correctly diagnosed it.
Right, no, we did. Yeah, I remember.
I think that could still be a good jumping off point for Zachariah and Charles, though. Like, Charles could be initiating a conversation of you, like, what's the matter? Can't you handle this patient? You have to get the woman to do it for you. That might be a little bit much, but it makes sense for Charles.
That's on you to decide. I can handle whatever.
All right, let's start with these 3 day shift scenes, since we're a little abbreviated anyway. Which of these 3 do we want to see first?
FYI, I might disappear because my computer's starting to freeze up for some reason. But yeah, I'm good with any scene. But yeah.
Let's knock the one you're out in first.
Yeah, let's do Alma and Sophia while your computer is working. If that is copacetic with the 2 of you.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Why
don't you frame the scene for us?
I think it's I think Alma's gonna come to Sophia. I think like something was like Alma was doing something, not with a patient, but like maybe like making some new tinctures or whatever, and that's when her arm seizes up and everything. And yeah, she comes to Sophia to like because she's the only one that she could trust at the moment. So what would Sophia, when she's not with a patient, be doing?
Um, maybe she's working on like organizing some of the research notes that they've put together.
Okay. Um, yeah, so I think there's like a little knock in the room that you're like doing the organization and
Come
but
in.
Alma doesn't say anything. She does come in and she just kind of like clears her throat. And when you turn around, she's like holding her arm, like her bad arm. She's holding her bad arm like up against her chest.
Dr. Alvarado, are you all right? Did you injure yourself while treating a patient, or
Uh, it's and it's a little embarrassing actually. Um, no, no patient was involved. And she'll take a few steps forward and like I think you could probably notice like tiny like little seizures in the arm she's holding, and she definitely has a concentration of like pain. Uh, well, I've been hearing from, all your patients, especially that lovely Miss Emily, that you are good with physical therapy?
yes, I've studied it some. Please sit down. I think there's like a chair or a stool or something in the room, and she's gonna pull up like something next to you so she can like look at it, and then she's going to like, after looking intently at it for a little bit, she's going to say, um may I? And then like put her hand like close, but she needs permission first.
Yeah, and she nods it's like, of course, yes. And she like finally lets go of her arm, and yeah, it's just like micro like seizures, and it doesn't seem like she's able to move her fingers or anything. And she doesn't explain to you quite yet what's going on, but she does give you her arm.
Yeah, and I think she starts by like kind of uh doing some diagnostic stuff, feeling it, like asking, okay, does it hurt when I do this? Do you have feeling here? That sort of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then once that is done, I think she's going to start massaging it, blushing as she does so. But she says, um, when there is very little movement in a limb, this sort of uh, pressure and heat can help relax the muscles so that um, physical therapy exercises can be performed to help heal you and restore movement as much as possible.
And she smiles softly and nods and like, I wonder if thank you. Um, I wonder if this is something that can be fully fixed. It's been getting worse, unfortunately.
Would you tell me what happened?
And she hesitates for a moment only because she hasn't told anybody. So she clears her throat. I was in on my way here from my hometown. We take a train and well, many trains and many other interesting transportation. And I was in an accident. And well, there was a lot of damage to my arm. Um, and it mostly healed by the time I finally got up here to America and to schooling, but she just kind of lingers a bit.
I understand. There are often lingering effects with illness or injury. I I won't lie to you. Uh, we don't always know how to heal everything completely, but I'm confident that I can at least help to reduce the pain and to uh, make movement easier. Um, as long as you are willing to do the exercises that I give you. Of course, anything requires diligence. And she's kind of like not quite with talking with her usual confidence because she's still like massaging your arms.
Yeah. And um and Alma smiles and she like kind of gently pats where your hand is and everything's like, good, thank you. Um, if it's possible though, I'd like to keep this to ourselves. I worry the school might not think I'm able to practice if I don't have use of one of my arms sometimes.
I won't tell anyone. I promise.
You're a good person, Sophia. Thank you.
Yeah, she blushes redder.
And I think she just smiles like yay. And I think that's good for that scene.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, fantastic. So both of the other two scenes feature Charles. Do we want to see Charles and Minerva or Charles and Zachariah? Which would be more satisfying? We
I
could
have
do
no
Charles.
preference.
We could do Charles and Zachariah to give Neko a break. Um,
Yeah.
Oh wait,
It's
no.
fine.
Diana. Give Diana a break because Diana plays Minerva. My bad.
Well, you play Minerva.
Wait,
One of
you're
us
right. You're right.
will
Yeah.
also be filling
Oh,
in.
And we
I'm
agreed
so
Neko would play it in this scene, I think.
I'm
Last
so
time?
sorry.
I filled
But
in
Neko
last time, so I'm fine doing it again.
Cool. Excellent.
keeps happening.
You know,
I lucked out and only get to play the patients. I get to be the annoying ones that don't have any consequences.
I think my brain defaults to either Neko or Diana playing Minerva because Minerva is so different from most characters I play. So it's just like,
True.
what?
Real shit.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, let's do Zachariah and Charles.
Alright, you're looking over my charts for the week, whatever that means in 1867.
Yeah, I think I'm looking over them in some area that is like just for the staff. And you come in while I'm doing this, and Charles kind of looks up and sees you as, yes, Wainwright.
Yes, sir?
I have been doing some chart review, and I noticed that Mrs. Conway, was it? Ended up being properly diagnosed by Dr. Hamilton. But the chart is unclear as to how the case got handed off.
I needed the help, so I asked.
All right, so
I'm not too ashamed
you
to
brought
admit
it. No, you brought in Dr. Hamilton for a consult then.
If that's how it has to go in the chart, sure, that's what I did.
Yeah. Charles kind of takes his glasses off to look at you a little more directly. Respectfully, Dr. Wainwright, while calling in consults are not altogether a bad thing, I do notice that you tend to do it much more frequently than the other residents. Uh, yes, that's an anachronistic term here, but whatever. Um, is there something about your own abilities that you doubt?
I ain't never been a doctor for nothing but horses before I got here, sir. I'm going to need as much help as I can get. And if we are sitting on some of the most brilliant minds in medicine, what shame is there in asking? The human body is a phenomenally complex thing.
Yes, of course, and like I said, I don't dispute that. However, uh, equine history notwithstanding, like your colleagues, you're calling in for a consult, taking away from their time for their own cases, you have also been given a high-class medical education. Respectfully, you're at a stage in your career where it would be prudent to exercise more of your own judgment.
I
You won't-
suppose you're right, sir.
You won't have anyone to call on if you go back to, where was it, Charleston?
Charlesburg, but close enough.
Yes, I'm not up on my Appalachian geography. You'll have to forgive me.
It's just north of Tourniquet, sir. But that's not important. My term here is up at the end of the month. You know that. You have to know that. I was expecting a more thorough performance review out of you, if I'm being totally honest, rather than a scalding for getting as much education as I can in while I have access. I'm throwing myself to the wolves for kith and kin, sir. I'm going to enjoy the nest for as long as I can before I have to fly.
At this point, I think Charles kind of looks down thoughtfully, puts the glasses back on, then glances back up at you over the spectacles. And she says, if you'd like a more thorough performance review, Dr. Wainwright, I think you're very competent. Prone to creative solutions where many others in your position would not seek them. All that I wish to get across in this scolding, as you say it, is that for a doctor as competent as you are, you ought to act like it. You ought to project that confidence to your patients. It will serve you well in the long run.
I'm sure it has served you well, sir, but that's just not how I do things.
Very well. I think that's
I think
a good place to end the
that's
scene.
scene.
Yeah, that was good. I liked that.
Quickly, before I slide all the way to Benoit Blanc with this accent.
What's wrong with
You
Benoit
see-
Blanc?
Now listen here.
Now you see, Dr. Mudd.
Now
It's a
you
mo-
see,
it's a-
Dr.
it's a-
Mudd.
It's a most perplexing thing.
She had abdominal pain shooting from her sternum to her navel. All our tests are coming back with nothing. I am befuddled.
It does
Anyway.
compel me, though. Yeah. I desperately want a Knives Out movie where he pretends to be a doctor.
It's okay. We have 2017.
Excellent. All right. Let's do this Minerva thing. I'm open to suggestions from the class as to how this should wrap up. I have some ideas of my own, but I'm curious what y'all think.
Well, what exactly are your ideas?
I would like to see one of two things happen. Either Charles successfully prevails upon Minerva to hold to their original agreement and keep the funding in place. Just leave Sophia out of it. Like, whatever issues she has with Sophia, just deal with them on her own. Or I would like to see Charles take this stand and try to convince Minerva and lose the funding, have to figure out some way around it. The first one would be a little bit more satisfying to me, but I don't know how possible it is, because Minerva seems fairly set against Sophia continuing in the program. I'm also not 100% sure how comfortable I am with Charles being the one to convince her, because, like, it would be nice to see him advocate for Sophia, but I don't want to take that victory away from Sophia, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I don't think Minerva has ever said that she was going to take the funding away. The carrot that she was dangling in front of him was the like bringing Charles Mudd into presentable society to restore his family name here in Philadelphia.
Right. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Like, that was the rumor, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Yeah. That's a good point. Are you interested, perhaps, in having this be a scene between Charles, Minerva, and Sophia? Maybe get Diana or Chris to play Minerva.
I would be fine with that.
Okay. Since this is a day shift scene, let's have this kind of flow seamlessly from that chart review scene. And Charles has finished that up and is conferring with Sophia about some such, and then Minerva kind of bursts in. Diana, is your computer adequate right now to play Minerva? Do we need Chris to do it?
I can do it. Yeah, I just after this session, I'm gonna have to restart the computer, but it's good now.
Yeah, we should take a bio break after this scene anyway. So, all right. I think maybe Charles is interested in conferring with Sophia about her research in a less poachy, predatory way than before.
Mhm.
Like, he is earnestly interested in what you're doing. Hey, what's up? Oh, I see. Okay. This is my partner, everyone. Hello.
Hola.
Hi.
Yeah.
I was trying to be quiet, but then Ross put attention to me.
Sorry.
I'm taking these snacks and leaving. Have fun, guys.
Yeah.
Oh no, you have no snacks.
Well, she didn't take all of them, but it's okay. Anyway, so perhaps Sophia has returned to going over the notes after the thing with Alma, and Charles finds her there. Strikes up conversation. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Hamilton.
Dr. Mudd, did you need something from me?
Yes. I felt a bit foolish about the way I acted last time we spoke. It was arrogant of me to presume that my research holds more value than yours when I truthfully don't know what you're working on at all. I was hoping you could enlighten me as to what you're pursuing right now.
Dr. Alvarado and I have been putting together data about various women's health issues and problems that can sometimes present themselves to try and see if there's a pattern, if any patterns come up, and what we can do to help alleviate pain. It's an area of medicine that isn't as well trodden as many other.
Okay. Just a moment. Sorry. I think
And
Charles.
I would
sorry,
also
go ahead.
say that it's one that requires female doctors. Many women are uncomfortable talking about these problems with men, even if they are men of medicine like yourself.
Naturally, yes. A distinct advantage to the school letting women in my opinion. Yes, he seems visibly uncomfortable talking about this topic. So, like, that's pretty obviously a two-way street. It sounds most important. Please let me know how things go. It does not surprise me that my video is stuttering. I apologize. We'll just hope that things work out. I think this might be a good moment for Minerva to show up.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide whether or not she's there for one of the two.
Yeah, save Charles from having to actually straightforwardly compliment your daughter.
Oh no.
I have to talk about periods? Yes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Minerva, I think, would be the type to like is a multi-pronged attack. So, this time she is here to see her daughter in hopes of like maybe trying to convince her again. It's like, I feel like she was told, "Oh, Dr. Hamilton is doing some research." It's like, "Oh, so she's not doing anything," you know. So she comes in with like, what would have been like your childhood favorite kind of like cake, like a little like small cake and everything that was bought, not necessarily made, but it was bought for you, comes in maybe when you guys are talking about, yes, women things, and it's an audible gasp from the doorway. It's like, what is this? Are you talking about such intimate things with and finally realizes it's Charles, this man.
Charles looks archly at Minerva over his glasses. Just kind of. What can I do for you, Mrs. Hamilton?
You could do what we have discussed, is what you could do. I keep forgetting your name. I shouldn't, because it's a Star Trek name. Dr. Mudd. I am here for my daughter. As always, I'm always thinking of my daughter and her place in society. Sophia, how have you been? How are you? And she's just a little flustered because, women don't talk about medical things in public.
As previously discussed, Mrs. Hamilton, what you request is quite impossible.
And she arches an eyebrow at that, like still disbelieving of that. And then she looks at Sophia.
Mother,
Daughter.
I do not intend to quit my position at this hospital, if that has been what you were talking about with Dr. Mudd. I want to help people. I know that is something that you understand, given how busy you are with your numerous uh, philanthropic societies. I just want to do things in a more hands-on way. But we both have the same goals. I don't see why we should be at odds about this.
Because my goals are for you to be somebody in this society. And I've set everything up for you to be someone, not just. And she has like not like a 100% disgusted look on her face, but a semi-disgusted look, like talking about private matters of women to men and debasing yourself. How are you ever going to find a husband this way?
Respectfully, Mrs. Hamilton, your daughter is engaged in very important work here. There are many men who have pursued the vocation that I have, who know depressingly little about how to effectively treat their female patients. Your daughter is attempting to alleviate that. If she does not teach me and my colleagues how to do this, who do you intend to? Who, if not a woman?
Yes, I agree. It's exactly because I am a woman that my presence here is so important. After all, you said that you would never dream of discussing these matters with a man. But what if you needed to discuss them? What if there was something wrong? What if you were in pain or were having other issues? Wouldn't you want them to be treated, even if you didn't feel that you could talk to a man about it? Wouldn't you want there to be someone who could help you?
I feel like this could be a good opportunity for a challenge card. Matters because it's related to
Yeah.
her to
Yeah.
Sophia's.
You can definitely use the challenge system outside of a medical context, and this is a good opportunity for that. So, I think it's definitely going to be hearts.
Yeah.
And for difficulty, I am loading the table right now, and it's having a whole hell of a time.
And I can't remember.
Yeah.
Is there a way for like because you're both quote unquote ganging up on her? So like, is there a way for you to help, like to lower the difficulty since it's
I could spend one of my resolve tokens to
Mhm.
lower Sophia's difficulty, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I believe I wrote that down, or I had established that previously. Don't quote me on it, because I can't open the document for some reason. My Wi-Fi is shitting the bed. So at least in this specific circumstance, I'm going to say that I could spend one of my resolve tokens to lower the difficulty, but we have to set the initial difficulty.
Yeah, I
And
would
I
think
think
it's at least a 3, but
I was gonna go for a 4
yeah.
because this is really, Minerva's just really hard to convince, apparently.
The diamonds example for 4 is making a defense case before the medical examiner's board, and it feels like we're doing this, but for hearts, you know.
Yeah, but for hearts, yeah, we're
Yeah.
making an emotional appeal rather
Mhm.
than arguing in an administrative way.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do 4 hearts. I will spend 1 resolve token to lower it to 3.
I'm going to spend both of my resolve tokens because this is very important for Sophia.
Oh, okay. So you
And
just
I
need
get
to
to
draw.
draw 5 cards before I fail out because of my thing. So
Oh, because of your condition. Yes,
yeah,
correct.
so hopefully I will draw
You
at
just
least one.
yeah.
All right. You just need 1 heart. Go for it. The first card is a spade.
Another spade.
Another spade.
Oh shit!
Spade again.
Oh my gosh.
And a fourth spade.
Well, this is an impossible card draw. And
Oh.
These are all. I feel like we need
Yeah.
a.
you drew
Let's
the Jack
read
of Spades
the bot.
twice.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bot fucked up. So if I had a physical deck of cards here, I would grab it.
Give me a second. I do.
All right. Are you comfortable with Chris drawing cards by proxy for you?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right. Just to ensure that it's not gonna duplicate shit. Yeah,
The
that's really
spade,
weird.
You're
Why
just
did
digging
it?
your own grave.
Where did it go? Fuck.
In fairness,
no, I
one of
was
them was a
muted.
diamond. One of them was a diamond. So apparently, Sophia is abandoning medicine to become a prospector.
Oof.
A bunch of spades leading to a diamond.
Yeah.
Technically, the spade in the suit of cards is a sword, but okay.
On one level, I appreciate the trivia. On another level, shut up, nerd.
I would if I could, nerd.
Take
This is a
one
fresh
to
deck.
know
I
one.
haven't shuffled it. This is why I was 10 minutes late, by the way, is because I was giving a TED talk on the history of playing cards.
Oh man, that is possibly the most you thing.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man, what was the name of that?
It does make sense, but since
It would have been so.
spades are used for intellectually minded tasks, that that Sophia would be good at drawing them.
It would have been so great to get that energy and break. Like, oh, actually, the word billiard comes from the French.
I wish. I wish. No, if we ever do break high card Monty though.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Honestly, you could probably. Anyway.
A really good supernatural fantasy modern fantasy series book is called Last Call by Tim Powers, and that's when I first learned about poker cards deriving from tarot and the magic of all of that. And
Don't get me started, because what you just said is slightly but meaningfully incorrect. I can feel every muscle in my body activate.
This is me and goading Maria earlier today with incorrect fencing commercials. She was
that's
like,
another
no.
one that'll get me, because I spilled blood for fencing. You can't actually see it, but there's a nasty scar on my right hand.
Yeah. Where are we at with those cards?
They're most of the way shuffled.
All right, fantastic.
This was a fresh deck, though, so we're either going to succeed 5 in a row or not at this stage.
I always heard you have to shuffle at least 7 times for it to be considered completely shuffled.
Yeah, but that's with a riffle shuffle or a bridge. I'm not doing that with these because they're
too new.
They're too new. I just and I don't have the counter space. The desk I have in this Airbnb is all right. Anyway, that's a spade. That's a spade. They're all going to be spades because I literally 5 through ace of spades. Hang on. As I hastily ghetto shuffle in my 2 hands.
Mm-hmm. It is occurring to me that the other possibility for why you would be the person to immediately have a deck of cards to hand.
Oh, this isn't even the one I wanted. There's another one around here somewhere.
It is occurring to me that it makes sense that you're the person that has the deck of cards to hand, because if it wasn't that the history of playing cards is a special interest for you, I feel like you have the energy that you always have a deck of cards to hand because you want to show someone a magic trick.
That is the meanest thing anyone has ever said to me as a compliment.
Oh my god. It was
No,
meant
it was
as a
just
compliment,
raised
I
by old
promise.
Italian men.
I promise it was meant as a compliment.
I know.
I have a bunch of poker cards or like deck of cards all around because they love to give them out at game conferences.
Here's 5 random cards, just literally pulled from the deck. One of them's a heart, I think.
Yes, a King of Hearts. Yay!
Hey, we did it.
All right.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, those are cool.
I love these.
Okay, so
They're too nice to use, though.
yeah,
So I think like the expression like as you both have been talking and she's just like it looks like her Minerva's expression does not change like oh no like this is like talking to a wall and then Minerva just gives a little sigh, moves over to put the cake that she brought like on the table somewhere where the paperwork is not going to be hidden by the paper or the paperwork's not going to be hidden by the cake. And she just like kind of like turns to you, Sophia, and doesn't necessarily acknowledge Charles anymore, and just like, well, if this is what you're doing to help other women, then at least once a month you must come to one of the socials.
Yes, I think it is good for me to continue to get to know people and make sure that they will feel comfortable with me when they need to come in for treatment.
And promise me you'll at least try to find a, and of course she's still going to think in a heterosexual way, um, a suitable man in the next few years. You are at your prime after all.
If I find someone, you will be the first to know.
And she nods and she looks at you, Charles, and she gives a very small nod. Oh no, that's not what she would say. If I see any opportunity, Dr. Mudd, I will send a note. And I think she then walks away saying that she has an appointment to see like some charity down the few blocks and such.
Charles glances at Sophia, still with arched eyebrows. Then just quietly says, "It's good to have you aboard, Doctor." Makes his way out.
Yeah, and I think once everyone is out of the room, Sophia just kind of lets out a sigh of relief because life has now gotten substantially easier for her because at this point I think she's still living at home. Um, so that was probably every single dinner conversation uh, when they didn't have guests, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, obviously, you don't fight in front of your guests, but otherwise.
All right. I think this is a good time for a bio break before we go to our final night shift. So let's reconvene in 15 minutes or so.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'm also back.
Alright. I realized what the issue with the Wi-Fi was. There's one of my video game consoles that's doing a download that's taken a while, so we should be okay, but yeah.
Well, that's good if you figured out the issue.
Yeah. I forgot that I had set this thing to download before the session, which was a little silly of me, but it's not a big deal. Apologies if my keyboard is coming through the mic, by the way.
Big, steady, clacky, clacky.
This is now an ASMR stream. This person that I knew via an online game that I play years and years ago has shown up again in a Discord server that I'm in. Nobody's heard from this guy in ages. And so
Oh, wow.
I'm getting a bunch of messages from like, hey, what's going on with you? And, I haven't spoken to this guy in probably a decade or more. So it's just kind of a lot, which is why I'm typing so much. Oh, we're waiting for Chris anyway.
So, Neko, I think the funny thing is probably Sophia's gonna be like, "Oh, everything's gonna be so much better at home." But now the questions are gonna be, "So, did you meet any good-looking patients?"
Yep.
And she'll start like sending potential mail of interest to like, even though it's not your field of doctoring, she'll be like, "You need to go see my daughter."
Yep.
Also, welcome back, Chris.
Hello. I did find my real deck of cards.
Nice.
This normal one. Turns out I have 4 tarot decks just in my luggage. No idea how that happened.
Magically.
I definitely only packed 3, so
What's your favorite kind of tarot? Like the
All right,
I used
I'm
to know
back.
better about all of these things. So maybe it's good that that Raz is back, so we don't get a tangent.
No, it's fine. Yeah, that download I mentioned, I thought there wasn't a way to stop it, but apparently there is, and so I just did that so that my Wi-Fi will behave a little better. I can do that.
you're
I
out
can
of
do that
sync with your
after
video
session.
now?
Actually, Raz
At
was
least you
earlier,
were.
but
How's
now
that?
should be fine.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Uh,
No,
Might
I
be
just
your
won't.
Wi-Fi, Chris.
I just won't look at him. It's fine.
them, but yeah.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. All right. So, what do we want for night shift scenes?
The conclusion to will they or won't they?
For which
Sticker.
couple?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. How do we want
Exactly.
to do this? Because I can see Zach inviting both of you out as his closest colleagues, or having a scene with each of you, and then ideally after that you would have a scene together.
What do you think works better?
I think because we're technically supposed to be a comedy of it, it would be interesting to have all 3 of us, and then like this, like the internal miscommunication, like, wait, why are we all here, kind of thing.
I'm sure now I'm sure you're wondering why I gathered you all here.
Have you heard of this? I know this is way before it, but have you heard of this religion, Mormonism?
Actually, in 1867, Mormonism was a really controversial hot topic politically.
Yeah, they had.
Oh.
When did they get to Utah? It's like
In the 1840s, but in
Yeah.
in the 1860s, they were this really controversial hot topic politically across the whole country because of their open practice of polygamy and the federal government's disinterest or inability to really crack down on them.
I was thinking of another religion that started in the 1900s. So,
yeah.
yes.
The very first Republican Party platform decried the twin evils of polygamy and slavery. Yeah, they considered this as bad as slavery.
I mean, listen, America has always been a nation of religious weirdos.
Naturally. I have thought many times
I
about...
do feel like it depends on the context of the polygamy because, like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am sure not all of what was happening was consensual.
Yeah.
Some of that early Mormonism stuff.
I have thought a lot about doing a weirdo 19th century Mormonism Good Society game, but it would be really tough because of my personal connection to it. So I just need to ease up to it, I think.
I mean, pick a group you trust is the big thing, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fun tangent. Are we doing Zach and Alma or Zach and Sophia?
Yes.
Or all three. I thought we were doing all three.
Oh, yeah, all three.
Yeah.
So somebody frame the scene then.
All right. I think we are at. I don't know. We established there was like a bar nearby, or at least a restaurant we all go out
It's
to,
like
right?
it's like a neighborhood tavern
Yeah.
where mysteriously everybody knows your name.
Cheers,
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, Gideon.
That would be a game.
Gideon might be there.
Ooh.
Gideon's fine. We can
Yeah.
live without Gideon. If anything,
Oh wow! Don't let me do anything in the night shift.
fine. Gideon can be there.
No, it's fine. We do not need Gideon there.
We had one very strange conversation that culminated in a fun fact, and honestly, I think it's fine leaving Gideon there.
Yeah. Okay, so the three of you are out at the tavern after a hard day's work.
Take it away, Zachariah. You gotta start it.
I think Zachariah will call for a toast.
What are we toasting for?
To health, to wealth, and some other third thing that rhymes with both of those. Amen. Wait. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, I think like Alma will happily like clink everybody's glasses and then like take a sip. Well, today wasn't too bad, right?
Nope. It was. Couldn't ask for a better last day.
No, is this a surprise to the rest of us?
I think you could know if you wanted to. But yeah, either way. Is this silence diegetic?
No, I'm thinking.
So yes.
Actually, Dr. Wainwright, I bought you something to take back to West Virginia with you. I think she's gonna pull out like, I think it's just like some book of medicine that is like well regarded, but maybe a bit more on the expensive side, or like maybe it has stuff about like maybe I think maybe it's a text about like doing medicine in rural areas where there's not necessarily always the same access to supplies and things, and like ways you can make alternative
The jury rigger's
medicines
guide
and-
to surgery.
yeah, that sort of thing. It's just kind of for your practice. I figured there were some things that you didn't learn here that might be useful when you go back.
B, you didn't have to get me nothing. And wow, these are some detailed illustrations. I will definitely be using this. Thank you. Truly.
Yes, I'll be glad if it will help your patients.
Well, I didn't get you nothing except my charming demeanor. I apologize.
You're the one who's going away. Traditionally, that's the direction that presents go. So you really didn't need to get me anything.
If you say so, but I don't sit right with it without being square, especially since it's my last night.
Well, I don't know anything about being square, but well, and Alma will pass along a little, like a very like tiny little knitted bag, like literally like it's probably like as long as your thumb and only maybe just like twice as wide, but it's like a very brightly colored knitted bag and pouch, I guess, and slides it over to you.
And if I open it up,
There's a let me get a picture. It's a worry doll that she attempted to make it, but unfortunately with with her hand issues, she had Donia Benicia make it. And it's kind of in the colors. It's very pretty fabric. Hold on. Copy image URL, please.
what,
Ooh, that did not work. Once-
you can just screen grab it.
You can
Windows
copy
Shift S.
you can copy and paste images and put them in the Discord. You can't do it in
yeah.
StreamYard. So
Oh no, I
I
was getting
suggest
the URL, but yeah, the Google search sometimes is weird. Yeah, I'll do that
yeah.
there. Hold on. It's just everything's slowing down again for some frustrating reason.
Well, your
But
audio's fine.
Unless you
good.
really, really wanted a character in the scene to say data image / JPEG semicolon base 64 comma slash 90
Exactly.
slash.
Getting some secondhand
These are
embarrassment because
they would
I think these were popular among like the white kids in my area when I was in elementary school.
Oh wow, yeah. They're Guatemalan worry dolls, but they do pop up in other Latin America places, and so but like so even though they're like very tiny stitched, she does kind of have it like and it's still colorful like that, but it's matched to look a little bit like her general outfit, so it's technically her. Um, don't know if
Well,
Zachariah actually picks that up, but it's like
no,
it's
he
a
does. I mean, like, I don't think. I honestly don't think it matters. It's from you, therefore it's yours. Like,
yeah, it's a
it's
worry.
completely speechless at that.
Yeah, it's a worry doll. You put it under your bed or your pillow, uh, and she's like a little flustered as she speaks this, and it's supposed to take any of your worries away for the night.
I, I don't know what to say. It's beautiful.
And I think there is an awkward silence from her after that. She just kind of smiles a little bit. Well, I thought something, to remember me by. And she like just is like looking down at her glass and like twirling it.
Oh, please, as if I could ever forget you. But thank you. Really, I will treasure it always. You two have been the kindest co-workers, and dare I say it, teachers, mentors, friends that a fella could ask for. It has been my right and privilege to practice medicine, save lives with two people so wonderfully. Set right as the two of you. I hope you'll keep taking care of each other and patients when I'm gone. I hope I can keep some small fraction of that care with me as I go.
I think Sophia kind of smiles at that and says, "You know, in in a way, I like to think that the two of us are similar. I became a doctor because I wanted to help the poor of my home, Philadelphia. And you came to Philadelphia from so far away because you wanted to help those of yours. You
I'll drink to that.
mentioned being square. I think anything about the gift will be fully paid for if it helps save even one life.
And I think Alma like smiles at Sophia and nods with that and is like, "You could always, right?"
Ain't no post office in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Have to go 3 miles.
3 miles is
hell.
nothing. I could walk that in a day.
Come here. And he will just huge bear hug on both of you. Propriety be damned.
Yeah.
How do we feel?
Sophia looks slightly uncomfortable, but accepts it.
How do we feel about Charles arriving at the tavern at this moment?
That's
I
fine. I think that can happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he shows up a little bit more formally and nicely dressed than most of the people that go here. To extend the Cheers metaphor, he kind of looks like Frasier the first time he shows up at Cheers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that is an image. I didn't know I knew what that looked like.
Quick.
Yeah.
Quick, that reminds me, they're making a continuation of the show.
Yes, and I have very conflicted feelings about
There's
it.
no way it's good, but I will watch all of it.
Yeah, same. Like, the only confirmed returning people are Kelsey Grammer and BB Newworth.
Yep.
So, we'll see. Anyway, so he enters the tavern and is looking around as if he's trying to find something or someone, and then his eyes lock on Zachariah in this bear hug with the 2 female doctors, and just kind of arches his eyebrows, but also just kind of nods to try and get Zachariah's attention.
Oh, the second he sees you, he will like go pale and like straighten up with military precision and just sort of walk on over as like faster than casual, but not by any means like he's not running.
He meets you halfway, so that like this conversation's still in earshot of the other 2. Says, "I'm glad I caught you. I understand you're leaving soon."
I thought we'd already discussed that.
Well, yes, that was in my capacity as your superior, but you're going to be going quite a long way. And he has kind of a satchel with him. And he pulls out a knitted scarf. It seems to be very well and lovingly put together. Says, I thought that you might appreciate something to keep you warm on your journey.
This is lovely. Give your missus my regards.
Oh, there isn't a Mrs. Mudd. This was made by my mother. But thank you. I definitely will.
Absolutely. I actually have something I could. All right, this is gonna take a little bit of explaining, but follow me through here. This here knife, it will pull out like a not quite a full like buck knife, about 2
maybe
inch
a
blade.
Bowie knife.
Yeah, like a Whitland knife.
Okay.
And we'll say that My my Meemaw sent me up with this, said that it belonged to our shared grandfather, and he always wanted it to go to the other side of the family, so by my reckoning, it ought to be yours. And you can see that it is like the handle is sort of roughly carved, but then lovingly like smoothed and lacquered.
Hmm.
And it has I think just Wainwright sort of notched into it.
Charles seems really surprised and touched. After a moment, he takes the knife and says, and again, in earshot of the other two, "Thank you, cousin. I will treasure this."
Oh, come here. Big bear
Uh,
hug.
Charles steps back to avoid the hug,
Oh.
offers a handshake. Uh,
Zach, I think we'll he's not drunk, but he will stumble a little bit further forward than he means to at that.
just kind of
That's-
catches you in your fall with the handshake.
Yeah. Right. Fantastic.
How do Sophia and Alma respond to this, if at all?
I feel like Sophia, having grown up in the type of family that she grew up in, is like kind of looking away to give some privacy, trying to be polite.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing to do. Men are trying to not have emotions here. Why would you look at us? It's the decent thing to do.
I think Alma is torn between listening because there's good chisme here, and also wanting to take the opportunity to give them their privacy and check in on Sophia, and so maybe a little bit of part of that. Um, she'll turn to you, Sophia, and it's like, well, it's going to be interesting without Dr. Wainwright around.
Yes, and I think she'll lower her voice and say, I I understand that you liked him quite a bit. This must be hard for you.
And she does flush bright red and everything. It's like, yes, maybe if I had realized that sooner. And she kind of gives a shrug, like a possibility, but I think it'll be okay. I mean, he'll write, even if it's only once a year, if he manages to walk those 3 miles. And, well, it's not like there was anything happening, and she means this sincerely, not in any pair of despair kind of way. She's like, I still have you.
Yeah, I think Sophia blushes very brightly at that and says, "If you should be careful with your words, some people might get the wrong idea."
Mm. And she nods seriously, and it's like, well, I could always blame the language barrier, but as long as the person I'm talking to understands, and she puts her hand on top of yours, then that's all that matters.
And I think Sophia um looks uncertain because I don't think she's trying to figure out if you mean this in a romantic way or not.
Yeah.
Like, okay, is this the talk of like very close female friendship, or is this I you mentioned going dancing once. If
Yes.
you would still be interested, I I would like that.
And Sophia, or sorry, I did it. Alma smiles like, and it's like, yes, with you, yes, I would love to go dancing with you.
Yeah, and I think she just blushes and just looks really happy about that.
And I think she like gives you like a gentle squeeze on the hand, and then because she is still paying attention to the men, she's like, "Oh look," like and like a little too accidentally loudly like calls out to Zachariah and Charles having a moment together.
Is there
Um,
anything else we want from this scene, do we think?
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah.
think we got everything we needed out of that. So now we have to figure out a few housekeeping things. I am inclined toward ending the 1867 phase here
Mhm.
and possibly having us get started on character creation for 2017, even if we don't finish it tonight.
Sounds good.
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful.
Like how exactly does kind of the passage of time here work? Do we do like epilogues for these characters or
I had envisioned that we do two things for the passage of time. One is that legacy thing at the bottom under the relationships. You fill out a desire there that is like, what does this character want to leave behind for future people at this hospital? What's basically, what is their legacy? And the way that this works is if you go over to the 2017 characters tab, under the conditions, there are legacy tokens. At the end of each novel chapter, or day and night phase, in 2017, you can get an extra token if you have kind of reached toward one of these legacy desires from the 1867 characters. It doesn't have to be your 1867 character. But if your 2017 character has lived up to this legacy desire or fulfilled it in some way in that novel chapter, you get a token. So that is the one thing that we do for passage of time, and the other is, as you say, epilogues. Yeah. I hadn't really thought too much about the order of operations. I think epilogues probably make sense before setting a legacy, because then you could tie the two together in some way. Is this all making sense to everyone?
I think so.
Where is
Okay.
the legacy? Like, is it? It's in the sheet somewhere.
So go to the 1867 characters tab, and
Yes.
under the relationship box. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It's tiny. Got it.
Yeah, it is diminutive, because I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to be. All right, so we could do epilogues first or legacies first, whatever makes sense to y'all, because we're in uncharted territory here.
I think it would make sense to do the epilogues, and then we might be able to figure out what our
Yeah.
legacies are.
Okay.
Mm.
Who would like to do an epilogue as like a vignette or something first? I would go first because I have an idea, but I'm the facilitator and it feels weird. to go first?
I mean, I think it makes sense for you to go first to kind of give
Okay.
us all
All
an
right.
Yeah.
example of what you're thinking.
Sure.
I have
I
some
think.
ideas, but
I think as an epilogue for Charles, we see Charles opening yet another new wing to St. Genesis as the hospital grows and expands. This is maybe 10 or 15 years later. He has regained the prominence he hoped for as he opens a new clinic for infectious disease, based on and continuing the work that he's been doing. A legacy connected to that. I think we're gonna put down. Make this. Oh, that is not the right font. Okay, let me see if I can fix that. Okay, there we go. Alright, his legacy is going to be make this hospital's name worth remembering. Alright.
So should the legacies be kind of like vague like that, or like
They don't. They
towards-
can be as vague or specific as you want.
Okay.
I was trying to connect it to his initial desire, like restore your family name, and like the legacy being associated with the good name and reputation of the hospital as a whole. They do not have to be especially vague or especially specific. Whatever feels right for your character. You're grinning like you have an idea.
I'm thinking. What happened is I finally tapped over to the Discord chat.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
Uh, it's tough because, like, I don't think Zach feels like he has a place in the legacy of in deciding the legacy of the hospital. So what would he have done by accident? And that sort of spirals out to things that are too vague to be useful.
Well, maybe a way to frame it that would be helpful is what was Zachariah's impact on the hospital during his time there?
I'm so completely stuck in the work hard, expect nothing mindset. Hang on.
All right. Neko, Diana, do you have
maybe
any?
like because of him, they create a scholarship for like people in communities like his.
I like that. I think I can work with. I think I can work that into my epilogue. Actually.
Okay. Neko, Diana, do either of you have something?
I mean, I have a few ideas. This is the problem. So I kind of want to see what Diana wants to do because we were working on some stuff together, and like I have multiple ideas, so I can take stuff that's left.
Yeah. I think with with her, yeah, with the whole like, oh, they're roommates, quote unquote, living together kind of thing, a relationship that would be occurring and such. I think what we see is like, yeah, a few years in the future and everything, they're living together, probably have done a couple of other interesting projects related to like th- the body and mind of women, kind of stuff to like yes, Boston marriage. Um and I think what it is that Alma is preparing. What this the shot we see is Alma's preparing to go home to visit her family in Mexico and everything. And she's been getting everything together, because the other thing is like her brother was kind of missing because he eloped, and then he finally showed up with his wife and family and everything, and so they're having a big like celebration back in Chiapas, and also to like, like, how dare you disappear, family drama stuff. And she's like, I want to be there because I want to yell at him and then congratulate him. And because that's how you do. And so I think she's setting up a whole little like, with the help of La Doña, a little surprise for when Sophia comes home from either work or something else, um, to be like, "Hey, want to go on a trip with me?" But she's very excited about this, and yeah, and so that's what we see is her prepping this like little surprise invite to essentially have her meet the family.
Cute.
And I'll think on the legacy for her. Oh, well.
Neko, Chris, either of you want to step up with an epilogue?
Yeah. So I think that for Sophia, the epilogue is going to be more work focused, just because I think that she's the type of person who would have been very private with her private matters, and like, you know, I don't think people generally would have known about the Boston like the romance behind the Boston marriage until like years later when people were doing scholarship type things. So I think that with her we see her going about the hospital and going about like some of her daily rounds. We see her working on physical therapy with one of her patients. We see her working. We see her with another patient, like a woman talking about women's health issues, maybe teaching her about how her body works, because that's not necessarily a thing that there was great education on at this time. And just like another time we see her with some helping someone who is poor, and like maybe doing a house call to someone who's like, it's like, yeah, I can't really afford medical care, and she's like, no, yes you can, because I'm going to pay for it. So she goes as a house call to someone like that. And so I think that her legacy is going to be this hospital cares for those that others forget.
I love it. Very nice.
All right. I think we see Zach I think this is going to be something of a time lapse. I think the first shot we see is a carriage pulling in, Zach riding in the back of what is basically a covered wagon, probably a bit fancier than that. Coming home, and there's settling into a one-room doctor's office, and then just like a through the years different patients coming through with various maladies, and he's always got the 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 field guide to medicine in hand, and we see him pass. I think the one scene that I absolutely want to include here is that we see he doesn't use the worry doll himself, but eventually he winds up having kids and gives it to his first, like his little girl. And then I'm still deciding if this is cool and good, but I think once like years have passed and the lumber or the coal or whatever, the town fails, and he and his family are forced to pick up and move just a little bit north, a little bit at a time, and settle in like Pittsburgh and then York, and then eventually just wind their way back to Philly.
I like that. That's really compelling. All right. As soon as Diana sets a legacy, I think we're good. No pressure. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's our final step.
I don't know if legends is the right word I'm thinking of, but I'm just gonna leave it there. So my legacy is hospital legends of finding love and health among the older part of the walls, well, older buildings, I mean, and the
Okay.
garden maze.
Okay, I like that. It's a different spin. I like that a lot. Okay, so
Legacy, or if you want to be the hot doctor who does all the romance.
all right, now we close the 1867 phase, and our time skip is done. We can at least start character creation for 2017, even if we don't finish it in a half hour.
All right.
So, if we turn to the 2017 characters tab, we have some options here. I will say for playtesting purposes, two that we absolutely need are the Moonlighter and the Slacker, because those rules have not been tested yet.
The roles doc is posted somewhere, right? I will definitely be
It's in
taking
the
one of those.
Yeah, it's in the materials channel on Discord.
I am drawn immediately to the Moonlighter, but I'm not fully sure what Moonlighter means.
Basically, a Moonlighter is someone that doesn't work in... They're a doctor that does not work in the hospital full-time.
Okay.
They could be retired doctors that are still picking up a few shifts here and there for some extra money. I paired it with the researcher background, which is... I paired it with the researcher background, which is a brand new background. And that is meant to reflect some characters you see in medical drama shows that, like, they're mud fuds or MD PhDs that are into, like, medical research, but maybe struggle a bit with actual doctoring. because a lot of their knowledge is like highly theoretical or like cutting edge of research, but they don't know how to draw an IV, sort of thing. So I thought it would pair interestingly with Moonlighter because like you could be someone that's doing like advanced brain research, but you also got to pay the bills.
I like that. I almost want to pair researcher with slacker though. I think that would be fun.
That could also be very interesting. I'm open to
Because
that.
the concept I have in my brain is not quite like a Dr. House type, but
Mhm.
just a guy who really only cares about his thing, you know?
Okay. That could
He
work.
needs to learn to like play well with others.
Mm-hmm. Neko, Diana, is anything jumping out at either of you? Because like between Moonlighter and Slacker, I will take either of those that are not chosen. I need both of those tested. So
Moonlighter or Hotshot is what I'm looking at.
okay,
And I'm
excellent.
fine if Chris wants to do Slacker researcher and then I choose something else. But I like I'm liking the idea of Moonlighter, yeah. But also
Yeah,
Hotshot's a fun one too.
Hotshot ended up being very very fun in the alpha playtest.
Yeah.
Uh, so it made a return because I think it's one of my better ones.
Neko, what are you thinking?
I definitely don't want to do researcher because I feel like I just did that.
Yeah, it's time for some contrast.
I'm kind of considering caregiver. Also, always love having a crush on my best friend.
Yeah, time for a change, except for that. That one stays.
Well, you
Well, I mean, that's always just one of my favorite good society desires.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good.
But I think I'm leaning towards a caregiver yuppie type
Okay,
thing.
very good. So we will do Neko as the caregiver. I'm putting that in now.
All right, I know what I'm doing. If unless one of you is really attached to researcher, I'm slacker researcher researching medical uses of psychedelics.
Okay, so we will switch your
let me
background to
see.
researcher.
Yeah, you could totally take research, and let me see if I want to stick with research or Moonlighter, or if I want to do Hotshot Dynasty. But let me see what other. Because I already did ORTC. I could technically do transplant again.
I would prefer not using the transplant because I haven't really updated it in the
Okay.
ways that you and I talked about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I would be more comfortable putting that on the shelf for a little bit until I can make it better.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Let's see. Let me just remind myself of Dynasty. That's right.
I mean, the purple column does seem more attached to the researcher than
Yeah, with that
the
desire.
yellow column.
We could have two characters from a researcher background.
Well, I was saying you could make that one the slacker and move Moonlighter
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, that actually would make a whole lot of sense. So let's make the Moonlighter from a donor background and the Slacker a researcher so that the desires line up better.
Why would that?
Oh, because the desire for the Moonlighter originally was successfully fund your latest project. And if you're a
Yeah.
researcher, yeah.
It just seems a very researcher desire.
Oh,
Are you
no,
comfortable
that's
with
not.
that, Chris?
Yeah, it's
Whoa,
fine.
hello.
I just didn't. I wasn't fully sure what was happening. Nope.
Oh, will you have to change the
Yeah,
the
got it.
conditions?
No, the
Got it.
conditions are tied. The conditions are tied to roles, I believe. So,
Oh, okay.
that'll-
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
I
so
love
we
that
have to
those
swap
change.
them, right?
Oh yeah, we do have to swap them because I don't have code for that. So let me just
Here,
figure
it'll
out
be
how to do
easier to
this.
just swap the desires.
You're right, yeah.
While you do that, I'm quickly reading.
Will it? Shit, hang on.
Yeah, switch the desires and the relationships.
And that'll be easier. That's... Why? Why do you do this?
What did I do?
Not you.
Oh,
Google.
Okay.
I just the fact that Google Sheets will not let you right click to paste eternally bothers me, especially because my keyboard is all the way up here now.
All right, I've got it. I've got it. All right.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll
Wonderful.
go with Moonlighter.
Okay,
As much as
so
Hotshot would be fun, but I do have a character concept-ish.
Oh no, we want Diana, she, her, in that box. Got it. So between these final couple of options, I think
I think having another love-based one might make things complicated. You're supposed to
I am
limit
I am
those.
also more inclined toward the hot shot because this particular table has been really into the cards. And having someone who wants to outshine their rival in the OR is going to give us lots of opportunities to use the cards. So I think that makes the most sense for me to play. So, okay. We're going to hide the workhorse. They're the heart and soul of our game, but they're just made invisible by being addicted to the job. We should... I'm wondering if we should go over collaboration to see what we want to change, if anything, or if we should finish character creation first.
I
Maybe
think
collaboration.
will be.
Yeah, let's go over collaboration.
I think we've got a pretty good handle on it.
Yeah. And we can finish up the character creation stuff next time.
Yeah.
So our tone, medical comedy, how do we feel about that? Because like we've had funny moments, but it hasn't been like, I don't think comedy has been the main priority.
Well, again, to me, like I think this might not be the best name for it because like I don't necessarily think of like you mentioned that like Call the Midwife was a good example of it, but that's not I don't necessarily think of Call the Midwife as a medical comedy. So like
Yeah. Honestly, with the emphasis on the cards, it feels a lot more like we've been doing a medical procedural. Just
A little
period,
bit, yeah.
a period procedural. Do we, and especially if we're in a modern hospital and we don't have to do the legwork of historical accuracy, except like back 6 years.
But what a
think
6 years it's been.
Indeed. It's a pre-pandemic deep cuts game. I would be okay with switching to medical procedural. if that works for everyone. I'm also okay leaving the tone where it is and just kind of seeing what happens.
Yeah, I think this is a feel it out kind of situation.
Neko, Diana?
I'm fine with kind of leaving it where it is.
Yeah, because
I,
it
I
like
do I do think that these shows that you've listed do put some emphasis on the cases. It's just that they aren't the main emphasis, and it's kind of
Yeah, realism is not a priority for these shows.
well,
No, but also there's
I would necessarily say that either, because a lot of doctors do point to Scrubs as one of the most realistic medical
Yeah,
dramas out
fair.
there.
Fair.
But I think it's more about kind of it being a mix between
it's
real,
humanistic without
yeah,
the emphasis on the romance. It's even though there are romances in these.
yeah, it's focused on the patients as people rather than
characters.
cases, and
Okay.
you know, is more how I would define it, and
Yeah.
with the hospital as more of a community
Mhm.
rather than just a bunch of dramas happening all the time.
Yeah. Based on the feedback you've already given me and this conversation, it is becoming clear that I need to expand and revise the tone options. I'm still figuring out what I want to do with them. I haven't had a lot of time to work on this because of school, but
Yeah, which
Who amongst us has free time for anything?
indeed. Historical accuracy, I think we probably could leave where it is if it's okay to
Yeah.
move on. Contemporary power balances, it would be weird if we turned them off now, I think. Especially since this has kind of been feminist doctors, the game. So,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
are there any lines, veils, ask firsts that we want to add considering the change in time period? Like I mentioned, this is a couple years before the pandemic. So, are there lines or veils that we want to add?
How to best put this? Because I'm fine with politics, but at the same time, left versus right type of politics, Because
Okay.
2017
Partisan issues, I think,
part
is the way
maybe
you would say
because
that.
2017 is a lot of
Mhm.
Yeah.
not that I think that would show
Is
up in our game, but
So maybe
No,
a
but
veil over partisan politics
yeah,
works for me.
because as we kind of see now, a lot of that is affecting hospital stuff. We
Yeah,
don't
and
necessarily need to.
we
Uh-huh.
don't want to not talk about it because social commentary is sort of the bread and butter of this genre.
Yeah.
But we also want to establish, hey, this isn't to take pot shots. Okay. Are there any other lines or veils that we want to add?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We completely forgot to do any of the wishes.
The time capsule. We could
With
retcon that.
the capsule,
Shows
we
do
didn't
that all
do
the
the
time.
leeches.
I think leeches came up once. There wasn't a whole lot of fun miscommunication, so we could still keep that in there. I think we
I can
could still
work.
establish.
Don't worry, I can work leeches in.
Yeah, I think we could still establish that there is a time capsule because we're leading up to the sesquicentennial. So I think that can still pay off even if we didn't establish it in 1867 in play. Medical quackery exists in all times, in all places. So I think we could leave that.
Yes, but I
Um,
think it's especially worthwhile to keep the veil on partisan politics in mind when we discuss medical quackery in 2017.
I'm thinking more of
Yeah.
like influencer quackery, like oh,
Dr.
just
Oz
yeah,
type shit.
or like that
I
Instagram
mean,
post of the lady who bleaches her ass to the
Gwyneth
sun.
Paltrow.
Yes. So we
Wait,
could
surgically removing a jade egg.
Do y'all not bleach your ass to the sun?
Ugh.
I live in Syracuse. I have to get all the sunlight possible. Anyway, and then I think obviously we want to do more with disability rep because it only came up a little bit in 1867.
Yeah, I think there's a different game where it could have come up more.
It definitely came up some.
Yeah, it probably would have come up more if we wanted this to be like a war hospital.
Oh, I was just thinking that doing Civil War MASH would be completely wild.
Yeah. And there are certain characters that you wouldn't have to rename. All right, medical collaboration. Mid accuracy, I think, has been working well for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can't really change what kind of institution we're in. Well, we might be able to change, like, if we want. But I think Legacy of Excellence still is very appropriate. I'm open to being convinced.
I mean, didn't we specifically select Legacy of Excellence the first time?
Yeah.
To light it up for now.
Yeah. We had specifically chosen it so we could set up 2017 in a particular way. So, ratio of action to drama. Again, I think work-life balance seems to be our natural resting point. We could, if we really want to, change the scope from entire hospital to the ER or the surgical service.
NECA, did you have something you wanted to bring up?
No, not really.
Okay, I thought I heard your thing.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe limit to wait. Let me what were the options again?
The emergency room, the surgical service, or the entire hospital. I think if we wanted to limit our scope to the emergency room, because modern hospitals are so much bigger.
I mean, that does kind of crowd out the researcher.
Not necessarily. The researcher
Unless I'm
background.
researching shock.
Well, the researcher background is informed really specifically by this one side character on ER. One of the doctors gets this med student who is finishing his MD PhD and has basically no useful medical skills because he's up in the lab all the time. He doesn't know how to draw an IV. He doesn't know how to do all this stuff. And he gets this really cool glow up where like he actually kind of learns to be sort of competent. So yeah, we could definitely still have people with a research background in the ER because research is still done. And like attending physicians in the ER still have to publish and still have to do research. So.
Or like we did talk about how another potential thing would be like choosing like a particular section of the hospital if we wanted to do that.
Oh, you mean like a particular physical section?
Well, like pediatrics or
like a different department other than surgery.
Not listed here.
Yeah,
a different department not listed here. We could do that if you want.
I mean, I don't particularly have any ideas for that. I just
okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I want to cover that can't be covered in the ER.
It would be good to have for future notes an option of like other building, like just so people understand that if they wanted to do like private practice, just OBGYN stuff,
Yeah, that sort of thing. This is another collaboration question that I want to finesse some more.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody's died in our game yet. So we haven't had to handle death. Have
lethal patients.
Well,
I mean, the woman with the toothache could have definitely died from sepsis. Since we failed to convince her.
Yeah.
Eventually, later on.
She might have died off screen.
Honestly, I'm significantly more comfortable with death now that it's not 1867, and there won't I won't have to contend with the fact that last resort will be bleeding.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave that where it is for now then. And then our patients of the week regenerating once per cycle of play. We only got through one cycle of play,
I mean, do
but
we want?
it seemed like we got a decent amount of time with them. We can switch it to once per novel chapter if you would like.
It was like 2 patients, or it was like 2 scenes per patient.
Yeah.
Right? Give or take.
Do we need? I don't think we need more of that necessarily.
No.
I just think since we're in an ER.
Oh yeah,
No.
that's a good point.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Having them cycle more frequently makes sense for an ER. So
Yeah.
let's do that. Okay. It's honestly getting close to the time that I need to call it because I have to call it early since my partner's here and she has a game that she needs to log on for. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
No, that's fine. I mean, we started late anyway because of me, so
Oh, okay.
you're not the only one at
But
fault.
we're off to a really good start, I think. So we will resume next week
I
with
did
character.
want to, yeah,
Oh,
I want to
go
ask
ahead.
like one quick question. Could I play like a nurse resident, or does it have to be a doctor?
No. The roles and backgrounds are made specifically to be position agnostic. You could be a nurse practitioner, you could be a physician's assistant if you want. The only staff areas that the roles and backgrounds kind of probably have trouble with right now are non-medical staff, like if you wanted to play a desk clerk,
Yeah.
or medical staff outside the hospital, like if you wanted to be an EMT that regularly comes in.
Yeah, Alpha
though-
1, we had head nurse as one of the main characters.
Yeah, in Alpha, we had a nurse as a main character, and that honestly was a really useful contrast because that character ended up being slightly insulated from the doctor drama. So, yeah, if you wanted to be a nurse or a PA, that would honestly be very good.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, you all have a week to gestate and develop character ideas. Feel free to fill stuff in on the sheet during the week if you
Were we
desire.
gonna do quick stars and wishes?
We're going to do stars and wishes off screen. I'm going to end the broadcast now. So,
Bye, broadcast.
see ya. Bye.
Bye, future Roz.